Hi, and welcome back to Bounce Forward with me, Tiff Ed. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm recording this podcast, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respects to elders, past and present. Welcome back to my chat with Kate Langbroek. We're going to get straight into it. I just love that you went to Italy as it was a circuit breaker, but I had to laugh when you get there and you're still doing basketball and there's so much going on. And
he tricked me. My husband tricked me.
Something like 1,200 meals.
When we were in lockdown.
It's still, the grind doesn't stop, does it? But
one day I sat down and worked it out.
Yeah.
And then I said to my husband, I've got to stop counting.
Yeah.
I've just got to. Well, there were 6 of us. We were eating 3 meals a day and that adds up,
That's incredible.
But
how was Italy? What did you bring back to Australia from Italy? Like, what have you integrated into your, post-Italy, into your life?
First of all, I tried to be, I'm going to make an effort and never leave the house in a tracksuit. And
yes.
Right, that lasted probably a week. But just I think generally the what they do is, and I've always tended to do it anyway because my work is very social, right? Mm-hmm. But they have a more seamless blend of their life with their work.
I love how you describe
with their
this
family.
in the book. Yeah.
And so there's not this demarcation that we've got, like even to the point where I said a few years ago to Husey, I'm going to stop saying work friends. They're not work friends. They're friends.
Yeah.
They're either friends or they can be not friends.
Yes.
But if they're friends, they're friends.
Yes.
So just to include, and I've always kind of brought all of myself to my work anyway.
Yes.
For better or for worse. It's like a marriage. But that made a really big difference to me to just go, you know what, I'm just going to let worlds collide. And then there's the more free you feel, and particularly in this climate where a lot of people who work in, this arena of being forward-facing do not feel free. They don't feel free to say what they really think.
Yes.
So people, kind of parrot stuff that that they couldn't possibly believe because it's bullshit.
Yeah.
We all know.
You're so cool the way you just call it, and you've always been your authentic self in the media, in every corner of the world. You are your authentic self, and I want to ask you, how do you do that? Like, for anyone struggling with their confidence or to be authentic, how do you? What advice do you have for someone struggling with that?
I think it was kind of, I was given a head start in a strange way because I was raised a Jehovah's Witness.
Yes.
So I was always very other anyway. We weren't allowed to mix with, other worldly people. And everywhere we went, we lived in New Guinea and we were the only 4 people in the tiny town we lived in who were Jehovah's Witnesses. So we were always other. And so at some point, I think, though I dreamt of being like everybody else, at some point I realised that was okay. So the more that you can fall in love with yourself, and I know we all do it and look in the mirror and say, or whatever people are telling us to do, and all those things are great, but I think it has to start with not being frightened of yourself.
Yeah.
And not being frightened of your own power, and particularly women. I think, every happy family I know has a very strong matriarch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just not be scared of stuff. And we've always been, if I have the chance to laugh about something or get angry, I'd rather laugh.
Yeah.
I don't like the angry people.
Yeah.
I don't like the angry women.
Yeah.
And it's not that we don't have stuff to be angry about, but seriously, who's ever had their mind changed by someone being angry?
Yeah.
All it does is make you put your hackles up.
Yes. Yeah.
But, I'm also a bit of a shit stirrer and I just like to...
So much fun. You're so much fun, Kate.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I love it when people do it to me.
Yeah.
And I love it when people change my mind about stuff.
And I really love about you is that you've never gone victim. Like that seems really
No.
important to you. And you actually mention it in the book that you have a life ethos about just, like it is stepping
Yes.
into your power rather than
Yes.
being a victim. And
Because
I
I
just
think
love that.
intuitively we all know what to do.
Yes.
And it's really just the more that you can align yourself with what your intuition is telling you.
Yeah.
Your intuition is probably telling you to put down the phone, unless you're listening to this podcast.
Yes. Listen to this podcast.
And your intuition is telling you that you need to move, and you know that your intuition is telling you to get into the sunshine and to get into nature and to take the phones off your children.
Yes.
And to step outside yourself and to find more joy.
Yeah. To find more joy.
No one can do that for you.
No.
And it's hard. I'm not like, times are tough.
Yeah.
But it's in the tough times, that saying that I love, that good times make soft men. Soft men make hard times.
Yeah.
Hard times need hard men.
Yeah.
Right? And that's sort of everybody. You need to be resilient.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the resilience of,
Yeah. No.
I don't mean that. I mean proper
Yeah.
matriarchal resilience.
Yeah.
I love it. I really respect it. I've got a great model in my mother-in-law, particularly Marie, Peter's mum.
Yeah.
Who's
Resilient.
just been so great at taking on everyone. She's got 4 kids and all their partners and some of ex-partners and,
Yeah.
me who turned up. My sister-in-law from Thailand, she's a remarkable woman.
Kate, thank you so much for joining me on Bounce Forward.
Oh, Tiff,
I loved having a
I
chat.
want to ask you stuff, and now we've run out of time.
Ask me. No,
you were the first person I ever heard use the expression bounce forward.
Yes.
And it was when everyone used to talk about snapping back. Everyone would go, oh, you snap back after a baby. Not that they ever said it to me, but I heard them say it to girlfriends of mine who snapped back.
Yeah.
And I love the expression bounce forward.
Thank you.
And the bounce, I think, is what you need to find in life. And I often think to myself, if I met my husband now, would I be attracted to him? Well, I would be.
Yeah.
But then I think, would he be attracted to me? And you think about the qualities that you had as a young woman.
Yes.
And you try to keep some of those beautiful qualities that young women have.
Yes.
Which is, a certain levity of spirit, a certain happiness, a certain optimism.
Yeah.
I think, and you've
That's
always
the
kind
balance.
of, you've always recognised the need for that balance.
Yeah, it's really important. Yeah,
it's essential.
It really is, because I think a lot has changed in my body.
Yes, and it's supposed to change.
Yeah.
But for someone like you who's always had, I'm going to say, a perfect body, I know that you wouldn't think it is.
Thank you.
But remember, I first met you as Angel.
Yeah, Angel had a
Through
good
it
body.
all, she offers me protection. I used to sing that to Ed all the time when he was falling in love with you.
I know, you were there for it.
I know.
You were there for the falling of, and we've been married 10 years this year. That's married 10 years and then courting before that. He was like, should we get you a boob job for your 40th? And I was like, nah, they're just so gone. But, I think I'm really comfy in this new body, which has changed so much with babies.
Yes.
But I feel like the sense of humour, I know with you and Peter the same, just having a sense of humour with each other.
Yes.
So important, having a laugh.
Yes, because the friendship hours are much longer hours. There's more of them there are of, sexual partners or, exercise partners or whatever else you do in a relationship, which is not to say that those other things aren't essential. They are. But to find someone that you're friends with is the key.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you don't know these things till, hindsight, but how lucky I was with Peter that he's, his name means Petros, I guess, rock in Greek. That's the origin of it. And he's solid as a rock, but he's also gorgeous and funny and
so funny.
Yeah,
like,
he's a
and
proper
I was laughing
man.
in your book, like.
Yeah.
He said once, like, what is the good? I've got some good news and bad news, and you asked for the bad news, I think.
Oh, yeah,
and then you said, "What's the good news?" And I haven't got
There
any.
is no good
And then you
news.
guys just crack up, like just crack up laughing, and it's just like,
yeah.
and that kind of summarized like just so much. Like, you guys, you just have such a gorgeous. It's so
Yeah,
beautiful,
we
and your book
do.
is written. It's so beautifully written. Like the story and everything, the adventure is fantastic. But you are such a great writer. Are you going to
Gee,
write
thanks.
another book?
Well, okay. This is
you-
my
you-
plan.
something, please
this
tell
is
me
my
something's
secret plan
coming.
is I want to write a romance.
Yes.
Like a classic.
Oh,
read in the bath
yes.
romance.
Yep.
There's some me time.
Yep.
Not the writing of it, but the lying in the bath, reading
Yes.
it once
Yes.
it's
You're
once
giving
it's
the
written.
gift of me time and me
Well,
moments.
and I want to write sort of a classic
yeah.
one. Like,
you should.
Yeah, as set in Italy.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of part way through the
That is
plotting process.
exciting.
And partly I've done it, like turning what you want to do into a job.
Yeah.
Because I said to Peter, well, of course I'd have to go back to Italy to write.
Of course. Yes.
He's like, oh, yes, I suppose we could. Well, not this year because Artie's doing year 12, but I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's exciting,
but I
Kate.
don't love writing. I'm not very disciplined with it.
Oh, but you're a very good writer.
But I love having written. And I've done quite a lot of writing, which is
Yeah.
odd for someone who doesn't love it. But I've got
Yeah.
friends who are proper writers.
Yeah.
Like you are with exercise,
No,
where you
yeah.
don't question that.
Yeah.
You just,
it just flows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I look forward to that.
but don't hold your breath. I mean, it's a long
You're a
process.
busy woman and it's a long process.
long
but
process.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Oh,
Love
Kate.
you, gorgeous.
Thank you so
one.
much for coming in. Thank
Pleasure.
you. Thanks so much for listening to Bounce Forward. I love having your company, so please DM me on Instagram at tiffhall_XO and let me know what topics and questions you'd love me to cover. Don't forget to rate and review me on your podcast app. Speak soon. Happy days.